the chiefs and people of Aflao are unhappy with President Akufo-Addo's response to the Paramount Chief, Todbi Ajonugaga Amenyafiti. The chief had issued an ultimatum to the Education Ministry to operationalize the abandoned E-Block Community Day Senior High School in the area. The school, which is about 90% complete, has 26 classrooms and 5 departments, including a science block, but the project has stalled since 2016. Todbi Fiti, speaking to Minority Side on the Education Committee of Parliament, demanded the operationalization of the school by the next academic year.
After senior high education, primary to the senior high education, the next degree that my people have to do is to go to border and go and do what? Cairo. No school. The only school that we have again is the RC Senior High School that belongs to the Catholic Mission. It's now what? A minor seminary. So this thick population have no place to go. And people sit down in that big hall called Parliament without thinking of Aflao. A place after the Tema Harbour, the next revenue generation is from Aflao border. It's from Aflao border. And I have to push the former President Mahama for that structure to be what? Constructed over there. I have to be running from here to Accra. Begging. Should we beg for education? No. There's something happening. If we have to beg for education before our what? People can go to school, then I don't know what is called a democracy at all. And look at the structure standing over there. 90% finished. 90%. Yes. Now the teams are having their full days again, going there, removing everything at will. Now, in the era of the MPP now, we have the free senior high education. And my people are not benefiting because the school is not yet. I'm sure by next year, February, school, new entrants will go to school. So your coming here is the redemption to the suffering people of Aflao. It's a redemption, really, to the suffering people of Aflao. I carry this message to them.
So that is Todbi Fiti, the Paramount Chief of Aflao, in that interaction with members of the Education Committee in Parliament, those on the minority side. Now, in an interview on Peace FM Thursday, the President responded to the concern of the Chief. Here's what he said.
Many of them. I think I'll find an opportunity to tell you that many of them are being worked on across the country.
Let me just take one, Mr. President. The one in Aflao where the chief himself has complained. Aflao patches E-Block no oba yenya hoshi. Inti my education minister up to February say oba yehu bibi. It's an say
minister ultimatum.
Also abre.
And over here.
Inti obisa no then maybe out of frustration maybe okasa.
As much as possible. I've given you these examples to let you see that on the contrary, despite the propaganda.
Now, the people of the area say that response is disrespectful and in bad taste. Ablaji Fagumashi is MP for Ketu South, and she joins us on the phone. Madam, thank you very much for joining us here on Joy News Prime. Do you accept the position by some party communicators that this was said in jest, if you consider his posture and also the tone of that response?
Thank you very much, and good evening. Okay, so there are two sides to this issue. First of all, what my Paramount Chief said was in the interest of all of us who come from Aflao. That the building is standing there, 90% complete, and even in that state, it is one of the best, if not the best, in the whole constituency. So if schools that are in worse situations have children in it studying, then this 90% if you finish it, we would be able to enjoy the free SHS, won't we? So that part, I want to reiterate that indeed, if the school is open, our children will start benefiting from the edifice that is sitting there with fees, as you said, fees stealing from it. Now, to the matter that President Nana Akufo-Addo has been said that was said in jest. Okay, look, let me ask you one question. Would our president say this in jest about any other paramount chief? Paramount chiefs have been asking him for roads, for electricity, for water, and so on. I've never heard him say anything like this in jest. I've never heard him respond to any of them in jest as he did to mine. And
so you are demanding an apology?
No, it should be in order. It should be in order. You know, if he said it in jest, he just has to come out and say that it was in jest and he didn't mean it. And perhaps going forward, he should not be playing with stuff like that because it hits hard. It hits really hard.
But
here is that edifice that is 90% complete. And it's the only secondary school in Aflao Urban. We have Aflao in Togo, Aflao Urban, and Aflao Zago. Zago is where St. Paul's is. But in Aflao Urban, with this population, and he did indicate that he worked hard. He and my former MP, he worked hard to have this E-block brought here. And I don't think I sat there. I led the people to publicity. I did not hear him say that the FCC hasn't done anything about the editing.
Well, you did hear the president say, Madam Gomashi, you did hear the president say that they are working to complete the projects that are, still ongoing. And indeed, the Education Ministry issued a statement to that effect, which we'll be bringing to viewers shortly.
What's the question again?
The president had said that they're working to complete all the projects, and in fact, the Education Ministry had released a statement to show the work they have done since they inherited the e-blocks project from the NDC government.
And that is why His Excellency says that Opentoma Onkosie. Is that what it is? Opentoma Onkosie. How much revenue of this country is given to Togo City? And a state building. A state building should go and be completed by a paramount chief because he dared to say that his people need to benefit from the policy that the FPP had put in place. And that throwback was really a slapback. That was a slapback. And I think that is unfortunate. It didn't sound right. It didn't sound right at all. It did not sound right at all. If it's 90% complete, and I have told you that there are schools in this country that are in worse situations than this new building. So let it operationalize. Operationalize it. Operationalize it.
And for you as an MP, you talk about other structures within your community that do not even match up to this one. What have you been doing in your personal capacity to help them, in your capacity as an MP?
I was sworn in on the 7th of January. I have visited all the 3 public schools in Ketu South, St. Paul's, 3 Town Secondary School, and Ketu Secondary School and Soma Secondary School. Now, in the 10 months that I've been working, I don't know if you know that we have not received anything to work with. But that does not stop me. My focus is creating opportunities for the young people of this community to find a source of income so they can sustain themselves. So I've been focused on skills development. I am not the Minister for Education. I have not been given a budget to do anything about these schools. I've been given my salary and I'm using it to the best of my ability. And that does not include going to build any schools.
You indicated earlier on the pause with Aisha that you have been in touch with the chief, the people. They are not happy with the expression, with that response from the president.
I beg your pardon?
You indicated in an earlier interview on the Pulse with Aisha Ibrahim that the chief is not happy, the people are not happy. How is the chief, will he speak to this issue? Will the traditional authority issue a statement? How are they taking in this?
Well, I do not think that it is my place to indicate what the chief will do.
Okay.
What I will do as a member of parliament, as a cultural leader in this community, as one of the stakeholders in the affairs of Ketu South, as a member of the Aflao Traditional Council, what I can do is to say that response from my president to the paramount chief of Aflao, who, by the way, has worked with President Rawlings, President Kofo, President Mills, President Mahama, and then President Nadu, did not receive the response that we expected. And I think that if the president has an opportunity, he needs to apologize or retract what he said. It did not sound right.
Very well.
You have called me because you know that it's not good.
Very well. Thank you very much, madam. That's the Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Ablajifa Gumashi there. And the Education Ministry has rejected claims that the E-Block project has been abandoned. In the statement, the ministry says it is committed to completing all outstanding projects. We'll bring you details of that statement issued by the ministry today and signed by the Public Relations Officer of the ministry. And let me bring you the details here. It says that you recall that in the year 2012, the Aflao government announced its intention to build 200 community day senior high schools in the country to enhance access to education, secondary education. It is instructive to note that contracts were awarded for 124 out of the speculated number of 200. It was expected that 101 out of the 124 will be funded by the government of Ghana in two phases. Phase 1 of the project consists of 50 schools and commenced in March 2014. Phase 2 was made up of 51 and commenced in July 2015. The World Bank funded the construction of additional 23 in 23 districts under the Secondary Education Improvement Project, which commenced in July 2015. This brought the total number of E-blocks to 124. Note that out of the 124, only 29 were completed between 2014 and 2016. It continues by saying that from 2017 to date, 31 new schools have been constructed, bringing the total number of completed projects to 60. Now, as of September 2020, so government is saying that since it took over, 31 have been completed and brings the number to 60. It is important to note that the 60 completed schools have been operationalized and currently in use. The remaining 64 projects have been categorized in 3 groups. Now, Category A includes 21 structures at 60% and above completion. Category B consists of 16 structures, which is between 25 to 60% completion. Category C consists of 27 terminated contracts, which include projects that did not start and those that were at substructure levels. The statement also says that it is therefore inaccurate to suggest that the CDSHS project have been abandoned. Government of Ghana, the Ministry of Education, remains committed to completing all the remaining projects, and attached is a summary of the completed schools. So there's a table, attached to the statement, description, the number of contracts, the year, the date, and also the total completed project. So when it comes to secondary education improvement project, 23 contracts, that's between 7 between 2014 and 2016, and as of 2017, 16, and then we have 23 completed as of September 2020. Then you have the Government of Ghana Phase 1, 50, 2022, that's 22 between 2014 and 2016, 5 given out, and then 27 That's the total number of completed projects as at September 2022. And when it comes to the Government of Ghana Phase 2, we have 10 completed as at September 2022. So this is the explanation of the Ministry of Education on the e-blocks project. Peter Nochu Kotai is the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament. He joins us on the phone. You indicated plans of getting the minister in Parliament to respond to the issue, but the statement shows that some work has been done. Plus, there's the commitment also to finish the project. Should that suffice?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening. Yeah, the Minority on Education embarked on a 2-day tour of e-blocks in the country to identify or see the state of abandonment of these projects. This took us to 3 regions: Greater Accra, Volta, and Eastern region. And to our surprise, we discovered that most of the projects that we visited were abandoned. No work has taken place in the last 3 to 4 years, especially 4 of the projects that we visited, and then 2 have been to a stage where in Aflao 90% had been work done. Then at Ethiopia, the contractor is on site. Now, they all complain that the certificates that they prepared since 2019, like in the case of Ethiopia, out of 5 certificates, only 1 had been paid since 2018.
Okay.
And that is making it difficult for him to continue with the work. So he has to be using his own resources. So also was in Aflao. So what he's saying is that the minister's claim or the ministry's claim that they have not abandoned the project is not entirely true. Most of the contractors are using their own resources to do the work, although they have not been paid for work done so far. So the level of neglect is very high. For 5 years, if work had continued progressively, I'm sure all the 124 projects would have been completed by now. So abandoning the projects and not attending to them, and even terminating some, which were 30% that work done, is not the best, because it results into waste of public funds. The 30% of work, if the contract was awarded at 9 million, so you can see that about 3 million is going waste. So why are we doing that to the nation?
And so you insist that the minister... You insist that the minister must come to Parliament and provide detailed response to the project all across the country.
Oh, yes. We will call him to come to the floor of the House and explain why it has taken government so long in completing these projects. Because they are intended to improve upon the secondary school education in this country. So we will by all means call him to the House when we resume on Tuesday to answer questions on the delay in the completion of the project.
Thank you very much. That's Peter Nochu Kotai, who is the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament.